You've seen the viral outlier tools like 1 of 10, and you've tried copying the formats. You pick the thumbnail, you match the title, then the video flops anyway. Every guru says this works. They show you the formats with 5x and 10x on them, but the data tells a different story. I pulled every video that copied one viral format, 97 videos in total, and in this video I'm going to show you the exact numbers behind this format, and we'll see if it's as reliable as the gurus say, and I'll give you 3 quick checks to run before you copy another viral outlier. So the format in question is I asked AI to make me money. Let's start with what you were actually shown. 4 thumbnails, 4 winners, 4 screenshots, supposedly proving that this format actually works. Here's what you weren't shown. Those 4 came from a pile of 97 attempts at the same format, and the middle attempt in that pile, the median, only got 1.4x the channel's usual views. So think about what that means. If you stack all 97 attempts at this format here, if each line represents a video, the median right here is only a 1.4x outlier, and I use the term outlier loosely. The video sitting there barely moved from what the channel normally posts. That's not a hit, it's also not a flop, it's a slightly better than average Tuesday. And it gets worse. Of the 81 videos that we could score against their own channel, 41% did worse than their own channel average, and only 25% cleared 5x. So that means that 4 out of 10 people who copied this format came in below their normal baseline. 3 out of 4 never even hit a real breakout. So the 4 screenshots you're shown are real, the pile they came from is also real, and the pile is the part that decides whether copying this format is a strategy or a coin flip. Which brings me to the question you should ask every time someone shows you a viral outlier screenshot. Not how did they do it? Ask this: how many people tried this format, and where does the typical attempt actually land? If the answer is 1.4x median across 97 tries, you're not looking at a formula, you're looking at 4 survivors from a battlefield that you never saw. And the reason that this 1.4x median can still get sold to you as a winning formula is simple. You're only ever shown the top of the pile. You're never shown the rest of the pile itself. The name for this is survivorship bias, and it's doing most of the selling. The gurus and the tools screenshot the tiny slice that hit greater than 10x. They go up here, they grab these, and they sell this to you like it's going to get you a ton of traffic. They don't show you the 41 attempts that came in below the channel's own average. That part gets edited out because no one wants to show you that. And here's the thing a lot of people don't understand. Even without any format at all, videos hit big sometimes. So on YouTube, generally, a 2x outlier hits about 10% of the time, 1 in 10. A 5x happens about 2.2% of the time, or 1 in 45. A 10x happens about 0.73% of the time, and a 100x happens about 0.007%, or about 1 out of every 14,200 videos. So a chunk of the winners that you see attributed to a format would have happened anyway, even without a format. Now that's a lot of numbers. The point is this: the higher the multiplier, the thinner the air gets fast. They're just rare, but they still happen. Ask yourself, when a tool sells you a viral format, what pile are the screenshots pulled from? How many attempts total? Where does the middle attempt land? If the tool can't answer those questions, you're being sold the survivors and nothing else. Because here's the trap: 4 screenshots of a 10x win looks like a pattern, but at a background rate of 1 in 136 with no special format, 500 random videos would produce about 4 10x hits. So out of 500 random videos, you would get 4 10x outliers. No format required. And all that means is that your outlier tool just has to go find the 500 attempts and find the 4 that would have won anyway. But that's not a formula, that's a fishing expedition. Now, to be fair, the format really does raise your odds. The problem is that better odds on a slot machine is still a slot machine. Let me explain. This format does beat chance. This part is true. So a random video on these channels hits 10x about 1 in 21 times. It's about a 5% base rate. So a random video on these channels that tried it hits 10x about 5% of the time. This particular format hit 10x about 16% of the time. So that's a genuine 3 to 4x improvement over the base rate. So the lever is weighted. There's a real edge here. It's not nothing. But look at where the edge shows up. It barely moves the common outcome like we saw. It mostly moves the rare one. The typical attempt at this format still lands at 1.4x, same as the pile we looked at. The advantage is concentrated at the top of the distribution, not in the middle. Picture this. You walk up to a slot machine. It pays out on 5% of pulls. Someone hands you a better lever. This one pays out on 16%. Better odds. That's a real edge. It's still a slot machine. You're still pulling and hoping. Here's the part the pitch never mentions. 41% of the videos that copied this format did worse than the channel's own median. Not flat, not the same, worse. So almost half the people who ran the play came in below what they were already doing. Now compare that to the top. Only 25% cleared 5x, so for every one person who got a real breakout, almost 2 came in below their own baseline. That's the trade the format is actually offering you. So the format shifts the top of the distribution up. It also lets the bottom drop out. So better odds at a jackpot and a real chance you underperform your own baseline. Both things are true at once. So can you staff a marketing team around a 16% chance at the rare outcome? Can you forecast next quarter's customer acquisition on a 1 in 6 shot? Would you go tell your CEO that the pipeline depends on it? Probably not. The format is a lottery ticket with better odds. It's not really a plan. And this is where operators get in trouble. You see the 16% number and you round it up in your head. 16% feels like something you can go build on. But it's not. Not when the median attempt at the same format sits at 1.4 and the payoff only lives in the tail. A better lottery ticket is still a lottery ticket. You don't hire people around that. But what about when the jackpot does hit? Is it really worth it? So when you hear 55x or 15x, you probably picture a viral spike. Hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views, a comment section on fire, sales rolling in. But here's what the multiplier actually is. It's just the video's views compared to that channel's own average. Which means, for instance, that one of the 55x outliers this format produced was 7,000 views. And a 15x outlier can be 15 views. So when I tell you that the 25% that did better than 5x, that includes 15x outliers that did 15 views. On channels with no existing audience, the format's hits landed between 1 and 87 views. So let me say that again. Between 1 and 87 views. Those are 15x hits on paper. If your channel averages 100 views, a 10x is 1,000 views. That's fine. That might be what you want. But when you hear viral outlier, you're probably not picturing 1,000 views, are you? And remember, the median attempt across everyone was 1.4x. The typical creator copying this format barely moved from their normal baseline at all. So there are two lies here stacked on top of each other. The first lie is that most attempts hit big. They don't. Most land at 1.4. The second is that the ones that do hit produce really big audiences. They often don't. They produce a big number relative to a small floor. Let's look at this from one more angle. If you do manage to get a hit with this format, does it work a second time? The gurus sell this as a guarantee, so if it works, it should work consistently, right? 9 channels ran this format 2 or more times. That's enough attempts to see whether the first win was skill or luck. Here's what happened. A channel called Sandy Lee AI hit a 15x hit with this format. 2 weeks later, she remade it and got 1.3x. The channel I Am Paul James tried the format 4 separate times, and he never once beat his own channel average. Out of the 9 channels that ran this format twice, only 2 ever cleared 5x twice. 2 out of 9. Everyone else regressed straight back to their baseline. That's the textbook signature of luck, not a repeatable skill. Because if the format were a skill and reliable, the people who cracked it the first time would crack it the second time. That's what a skill is. You do the thing and the thing works, and you do it again and it works again. It's not what happened here. The format beats chance in aggregate across a lot of channels making a lot of attempts. It does not compound for the individual creator. And this matters more than any of the earlier numbers because a business channel isn't 97 attempts across 100 creators. It's your team running your channel week after week. If the format can't repeat inside a single channel, it isn't a system, it's a coincidence that someone screenshotted. Which is why before you copy the next winner, you should ask yourself these 3 things. Everything we walk through collapses into 3 basic questions. You can run them on any format in about 10 minutes. Check number 1, what's the background rate? How often do channels like yours hit that multiple without any format at all? If a 2x happens 10% of the time on its own, and the format's winners are 2x videos, and the format isn't doing the work, it's just the base rate. Question number 2, what is the payoff math at your actual average view count? What does a a 10x or 20x hit actually pay in real views? Do the multiplication before you run the play. If your average is 200 and a 10x is 2,000, ask yourself whether 2,000 views moves your business. Sometimes it does, oftentimes it doesn't. Check number 3, repeatability. Pull every channel that ran the format 2 or more times. See if any of them cleared the bar a second time. If 9 channels tried it twice and only 2 repeated, that's your answer. Now look, if you're going to make this video anyway, and it just happens to be an outlier format, by all means, go make it. The problem comes when you keep redirecting your content strategy every week, chasing the next viral outlier someone posted on LinkedIn. That's not a strategy, that's not a system, and it's probably doing more harm than good because every week you're starting over and guessing. The best thing you can do is improve your craft and make videos your audience actually wants to watch. And the best place to start is the hook. Alex Hormozi is probably the best on YouTube at this right now, and I've done a detailed breakdown of exactly how he does it, so check out this next video.